Hi all, welcome to IAS HUB YouTube channel. We are here with the second part of Prelims Smart Mapping with respect to UPSC 2024 question paper. Well, in our previous video, we did talk about the importance of test series in our preparation. The results are out and the YouTube is flooded with clickbaits like the art of answer writing, the art of paper solving. Well, let me tell you, the word art is not exaggerated here. When does the skill become an art? A skill becomes an art when you put in significant amount of time, effort, or practice to make it an art. Whether it be the skill of drawing, the skill of painting, the skill of singing or dancing. For this purpose, let's say the art of paper solving. Let me take you through the art of paper solving through this video. So let's start with the second part of PYQ mapping. UPSC every year comes with innovations with respect to new pattern of question. Just like in 2023, we had pattern of only one, only two, statement one, statement two, explanation, etc. So this year was no different. Again, we had one different pattern of question with three statements and three statements justifying each other. Well, let me tell you, IAS HUB did predict about this pattern in its test number 29 about statement 1, 2 and 3 and 3, 2 and 1 explaining each other. So we had this question in the form of rainfall being the reason for weathering. When we come to this question, rainfall is one of the reasons for weathering of rocks, which is true. Rainwater contains carbon dioxide in solution, which is again true. Statement 3, rainwater contains atmospheric oxygen. Well, we have to wait for the UPSC answer key for telling you the right answer of this question, because in most of the textbooks, sometimes option A is correct, option B is also correct. So we have to wait for the UPSC answer key. But as I told you, when you check the pattern prediction in PTS 29, that was the last test or the full test of IAS HUB Prelims Smart, we did predict about the three statement question. Coming to next question. Well, in every year, UPSC, with respect to science and technology questions, there are application-based questions about the new technology. Here, we have question about which of the above can be used as a feedstock for producing sustainable aviation fuel. All right, which can be used. So, which all materials there are possibility for the use of sustainable aviation fuel. The statements are agricultural residues, corn grain, wastewater treatment sludge, wood, will, waste. Well, when such application type of questions come, you have to go and take a chance with all of the above, where all of the above applications are possible with respect to sustainable aviation fuel. But I'll show you another question which came in the same year with respect to application-based question. Here we are talking about distributed energy resources. How many of the above are considered distributed energy resources? Battery storage, biomass generators, fuel cells, rooftop solar photovoltaic units. Well, if you don't know what is distributed energy resources, when you go etymologically, you know that the energy resources which are distributed or which are isolated. So when you look into the option rooftop solar photovoltaic units, it's a mobile unit, right? It can be a rooftop solar, like it can be somewhere isolated in a house itself. It not necessarily be connected to a grid. Again, coming to fuel cell, which is a battery, again something which is isolated. Biomass generators, battery storage. All four options looks very similar, right? Again, when you come to science and tech application based question, you have to take a chance and go with all of the above. So the answer is all four. Option B, all four. Again, we did talk about different energy resources in our PTS 12, 17 and 27 and the respective answer keys. Coming to next question. Question number 91, which is talking about Sahel region. Sahel region is a region in Africa. When you look into the question since 2021, UPSC is changing its focus from Middle East to the African nations. All right. Last year also we had, in 2022, we also had a question related to African nation, the disputes or why the particular place was in news. Similarly, when we read the statement 1, there is instability and worsening security situation in the Sahel region. It talks about instability and worsening security situation. Well, if you have prepared well for the exam, you might know Sahel region is located in northern Africa. When we look into the map, this is where the Sahel region lies. And definitely, when we read the statement, there is instability and worsening security situation. Possible, right? There is no something particular country is not talking about. It talks about the region, Sahel region. Coming to statements 2, there have been military takeovers, coup in several countries of the Sahel region in the recent past. Even if you don't know this, like even if you didn't read in the newspaper, or if you have read, or if you have gone through previous question, different countries in Sahel region have gone through military coup. Again, when I talk about this statement, there is nothing about a particular country. It talks about several countries, which is very general, and you have to take it as correct. So the answer here would be statement 1 and 2 are correct, and the statement 2 explains the statement 1, that is option A. Coming to next question. With respect to money bill, we also had money bill in 2023. This is what I keep talking about, importance of PYQ in preparing for prelims examination or test series, right? Which of the following statements are correct in respect of a money bill in the parliament? We have 4 statements. First statement talks about article number, which is a factual data. You might know, you might not know. Okay, so let's move on to the other statements, because here again we are lucky enough to have statements in the form answers in the form of 1 and 2, 2 and 3, not only 1, only 2, something not like that. So there is a chance of elimination. So when I come to question statement number 3, the Rajya Sabha can either approve the bill or suggest changes but cannot reject it. All right, this is where the importance of you knowing the difference between the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. That is, Rajya Sabha has limited powers with respect to money bill compared to Lok Sabha. And when you read this statement along with the 4th statement, amendments to a money bill suggested by the Rajya Sabha have to be accepted by the Lok Sabha, which is wrong. Understood? Like we did talk about the difference of powers between Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, where Rajya Sabha is weaker than Lok Sabha with respect to money bill. And along with this, when you read the statement 2, a money bill shall not be introduced in the Council of States, which is again true. All right. So we are left with 2, 3 and 1, 2 and 3 because we have eliminated statement 4. 2, 3 and 1, 2 and 3. Now let's come to the statement 1, which talks about an article number. Article 109 mentions special procedure in respect of money bill. This is where I told about in the last video that you have to back your knowledge. Like if you are prepared well, you might definitely know that Article 110 talks about money bill. So there is a chance that Article 109 mentions special procedure in respect of money bill. So here again, you have to take a chance as the option 2, 1, 2 and 3. That is option C. Moving on to next question. Again, a very simple question. This might be your first question in your first round, right? UPSC does give such type of easy questions. So, under which of the following articles Constitution of India has the Supreme Court place right to privacy? So, the answer is Article 21. We did have this question in our test number 25, PTS test number 25. Right. So, next question is about scheduled tribes. Every year since 2019, there has been a question related to scheduled tribes or scheduled 6 areas. So, scheduled tribe is an expected question, or PVTGs are expected questions every year. So, the question is about, it is the governor of the state who recognizes and declares any community of the state as scheduled tribe. No, it is the president. So, statement 1 is wrong. A community declared as a scheduled tribe in a state need not be so in another state. Even if you don't know, even if you have not read about this statement, this information, it's a very commonsensical statement which says community declared as a scheduled tribe in a state need not be so in another state, right? It depends. The culture is different. The pattern of living is different in different states. So it might not be necessary that a particular tribe is a scheduled tribe in one state and not in the other state. So the answer is B here. Well, let me show you the reference to our PTS, that is PTS 00, which is the open test and test number 12, which talks about the procedure to be followed for inclusion of a tribe in the ST list, which talks comprehensively through the procedure of selecting or putting a tribal group into a scheduled tribe. So definitely you could have solved this question with the information with this question as well as the answer key. Coming to next question, question number 85, which talks about the annual financial statement or the union budget. Even if you have read previous year questions, you might have gone through money bill, finance bill. So you should have referred to like union budget. So first statement talks about Union Finance Minister on behalf of the Prime Minister. On behalf of the Prime Minister lays the annual financial statement before the both houses of the Parliament. It's not the Prime Minister, it's the President. On behalf of the President, the Union Finance Minister lays the budget in both the houses of the Parliament. Coming to statement number 2, at the union level, no demand for a grant can be made except on the recommendation of the President of India, which is true. All right, so the answer would be option B, 2 only. Coming to the reference of this question in our PTS, we had this question in test number 10 and test number 22, which talks comprehensively about the union budget, its procedures, and the answer key talks about through the required knowledge to solve this question. Coming to next question, which talks about import of apples from USA. So if you have gone through economic surveys of previous year, you might have known that India imports a lot of goods from USA, and we have a surplus with respect to trade surplus with respect to USA, and India does not import apples from United States of America, which is like, even if you don't know, does not import apples from United States of America, you should have taken it as wrong. So definitely, without going deep into the question, without thinking deep about the question, with the experience of solving so many question papers, you might have come to a conclusion that does not import apples from the United States of America is an extreme statement, because USA being a temperate country in a temperate region, there are chances of high apple production, and definitely there would be a chance of India importing apples from USA. So eliminating statement 1, we could directly come to the answer, that is option number D. Looking into statement 2, which talks about in India, the law prohibits the import of genetically modified food without the approval of the competent authority, which is GEAC. GEAC. All right. Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, which we had comprehensively mentioned in PTS test number 11, 17, and 25. And with reference to their answer key, you could have definitely solved this question easily. Coming to next question. Question number 22, which talks about plastic or plastic pollution. Well, since 2019, there has been one question with reference to plastic pollution or type of plastics every year. All right. So plastic is one of the favorite or one of the staple areas of UPSC that you should have gone through. And when we read through the statement, I'll tell you how to solve this question. Many chewing gums found in the market are considered a source of environmental pollution. All right. Many chewing gums found in the market are considered a source of environmental pollution, which is true, right? Chewing gums can be a pollutant, like which does not degrade easily, which remains in the atmosphere or which remains in the surface for a very long time, right? Many chewing gums contain plastic as a gum base. When you read this statement, either you can say that plastic, since chewing gum something edible, plastic would not be there, right? But since chewing gum is a source of pollutant, as something which remains in the environment for a very long time, there is a chance that the base might have plastic. Let me tell you how to solve this question with reference to the question that we had in our PTS 27 that talks about microplastic, which was there in 2019 prelims paper also. Microplastics are plastic particles less than 5 nanometer. They can be found in environment, in our food and water, and even in our bodies. They can harm marine life, pollute our water supplies, and disrupt ecosystems. Right? When you go through these options, the question was about finding an incorrect statement. One of them is incorrect. All the other are true. So there are researchers which have found that there is a nexus between, or there is a connection between microplastics and chewing gums. As I told you, since when you read statement 1 and 2 together, you have to come to a conclusion that there is a chance that there is plastic base in chewing gum. So we can solve this answer easily and come to the conclusion that answer A, option A is the answer for question number 22. Coming to next question. With reference to water vapor, which of the following statements is or are correct? Question number 12, which is a direct question from our NCRT, Geography NCRT class 11th, right? It is a gas, the amount of which decreases with altitude, right? Water vapor increases with altitude because as we go higher, the temperature decreases. So definitely the chances of water vapor there will be very low. So statement 1 is correct. Coming to statement 2, its percentage is maximum at the poles. We did talk about temperature in the first statement, right? As we go higher, water vapor would be less because of lower temperature. And when we look at the poles, the temperature is again low. So would this be correct? Its percentage is maximum at the poles? No, its percentage is minimum at the poles because of the temperature. Coming to next question, similar question with respect to water vapor, which talks about the thickness of the troposphere at the equator, which is much greater as compared to the poles. At the second statement talks about at the equator, heat is transported to great heights by strong convectional current. So compared to poles, thickness of troposphere at the equator is much greater because of the statement 2, which explained that is heights by strong convectional current, which is easily and directly explained in our test number 11, which talks about the thickness of troposphere. Direct question, a direct reference in the answer key. So this is how you solve questions with the help of test series questions and their answer key. Coming to next question, which is again a very direct question from our from the reference of our test series, which talks about according to Environmental Protection Agency, which one of the following is the largest source of sulfur dioxide emissions? The options are locomotives, ship using fossil fuels, extraction of metals from the ores, and power plants, that is electrical utilities using fossil fuels. So in our test number 18, we had that in our answer key. The first statement talks about or explains about most of the sulfur dioxide released into the environment comes from electric utilities. So the answer is option B, which is nothing but power plants using fossil fuels. Coming to question number 34, which is again application based question, but a little tricky one. Okay, you might have a tendency to go for all of the above here, but let's read through the statements. In how many of the above activities can radars be used? Right, radars be used. Identification of narcotics on passengers at airports or in aircraft. If you have traveled through rail or airport, you know that there is scanning of luggages which happens, and with your curiosity, you should have known that this is not the radar. The application of radar doesn't come here. It's the application of X-ray. So we can eliminate this statement. Second statement is monitoring of precipitation, which is true. Radars does help in monitoring of precipitation. Statement 3, tracking of the migration of animals from one particular area to another is also tracked using radars. So the answer here is only 2, that is option B. Coming to, yes, we did have the reference of the application of radars in PTS 17. PTS 17. Coming to next question. Here, again, the question is with reference to the power of the speaker in Lok Sabha, when the resolution for removal of speaker of the Lok Sabha is under consideration. All right, when the removal of the speaker of the Lok Sabha is under consideration. So first statement talks about he or she shall not preside, which is true. When the removal of speaker is the resolution for the removal of speaker is going on, he or she shall not preside the house. Second statement is he shall not have the right to speak, which is actually completely wrong, right? He or she does have the right to defend himself or herself for the case that has been charged against him or her. So the statement 2 is wrong, and when we come to the options, we have only one option left after eliminating statement 2, that is option A, 1 only. Let's go to the third statement as well. He or she shall not be entitled to vote on the resolution in the first instant. When we talk about the ordinary bills, he or she doesn't have the right to vote in the first instant. He or she does have the casting vote. But when it comes to the removal, he or she does have the right to vote in the first instance. That is the difference between the two. Again, we had multiple references in our test number 10 with respect to the power of the speakers in the Lok Sabha, right? Coming to question number 95, which talks about the prorogation of the House and who does it. So the first statement, prorogation of a House by the President of India does not require the advice of Council of Ministers. Coming to statement 3, let's read statement 1 and 3 together. Statement 3 talks about dissolution of the Lok Sabha is done by the President of India who save in exceptional circumstances. Does so in the advice of the Council of Ministers. India being a parliamentary form of government, there are high chances that Council of Ministers suggests the prorogation of the House in exceptional circumstances. Otherwise, it's a discretionary power of the President. So, 3 is more relevant with respect to statement 1. So, statement like we have options left with C and D, 2, and we need to check the statement 2. Prorogation of House is generally done after the House is adjourned, sine die, but there is no bar to the President of India prorogating the House which is in the session. Usually, generally, prorogation is done after the session is adjourned, sine die, but the President has the power. It's the legislative power of the President, where the President has the power to prorogate the House as and when required. So the answer would be option C. Again, we had the reference of this question from PTS 29, which is again the full test, the last full test of IAS HUB Prelims Smart Test Series, and the question as well as the answer key would have helped in solving this question. Coming to question number 40, which is a bit on the easier side, which talks about different types of market, and with reference to Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending obligations are instruments of course, collateral borrowing and lending instruments are instruments of money market. So the answer is C. Again, we did have the reference of different markets, different instruments in our question number in our PTS test number 3 and 29. All right. Now we would be discussing few questions, which in the beginning I talked about the skill and the art, right? Using the skill or the art of solving the questions. So coming to question number 57, which talks about the revenue collection system. All right. So revenue collection system again is a favorite area of UPSC. It was asked in 2019, 20, 21. So every time from modern India, this area is a staple area for UPSC question. So coming to the statement under the Rotwari settlement of revenue collection, which is very familiar if you have started preparing for the exam, you might know the Rotwari settlement system. The peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvest or natural calamities. Right? See, this sounds very sweet of British, which is very unlikely, right? The Britishers being so sweet during the bad times that they are exempting us from the revenue collections. So our national movement wouldn't have gone so long, right? So this sounds very unlikely of British, and thus I would take the statement as wrong. Coming to statement number 2, under the permanent settlement in Bengal, if the zamindar failed to pay his revenues to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from his zamindari. This is something very British, right? So comparing statement 1 and 2, for me, statement 2 sounds very correct with respect to the question. So I would go with option B, that is 2 only. Coming to next question. When you see such type of question, considering the following pairs, the party and its leaders. There are 4 parties which are talked about and 4 leaders. Okay. At least one you might be knowing if you are prepared well. At least one. If you know well, you might know all the 4. Right. So when I see this question, the first thing that comes into mind is about Acharya Narendra Dev, who belongs to Socialist Party, was very much associated with the Socialist Party. Okay. So when I see this is wrong, right? See Rajagopalachari, Socialist Party, and Swatantra Party, Acharya Narendra Dev is wrong. Okay. I've eliminated the 2 statements. Okay. I'm left with 1 and 3. Here, with calculated risk and your experience of paper solving, you have to take a risk that answer would be only 2. Because there are 4 statements, right? 4 options of party and 4 options of leaders. There are high chances that the leaders might have been interchanged from 1 or 2 or 2 or 3, right? Like that. So if you know one of them and one of the pair is incorrect, the other would also be incorrect by logic, right? So by taking a chance, you can come to the question answer as only 2. Similarly, with same kind of logic, let's come to next question, which talks about the aging population. Aging population also with reference to silver economy, which was there in our PTS 25. Which of the above countries are frequently mentioned in the media for their low birth rates? If you are someone who regularly reads newspaper or watches news, you might be knowing about, or the comparison of demographic dividends of India and other countries. Japan is a country which stands like very opposite to India with respect to demographic dividend, and Japan has high aging population. Okay, again, see there we had 4 options, we have 5 options. So there are chances that at least one you might know. And we are starting with Japan. Let's see how many options are there. Like we have option A and option C, that is 1 to 4 and 2 and 4. 4 is South Korea. We don't have to look into it because since Japan is correct, there the 4 also comes along with it. Next we have to look into is Italy. All right. Again, with your accumulated knowledge or knowledge of your reading, you might know there are a lot of migrants from India going to Italy for in search of jobs. So definitely there might be an aging population which is becoming a dependent population. So there are requirements of workforce, and India is always a country which provides workforce in different countries like these. So here again you have to take a calculated risk and take a chance and go for the option A, that is 1, 2 and 4. Coming to next question. Alright. Climate type. After a very long time, UPSC has come up with a lot of geography questions. To be fair, or to be honest, like a lot of geography questions that came this year was directly from our NCERT textbook, mostly from textbook from class 11th. All right. So this question gives description about the type of climate. All right. We have 4 options: equatorial climate, China type climate, humid subtropical climate, and marine west coast climate. I'll tell you how to use logic and the description to come to the answer. Right. First statement: annual and daily range of temperature is low. That is, the temperature at the daytime and the night time almost remains the same. Okay, which just sounds very similar to the equatorial climate. All right. For the first statement, my answer would be equatorial climate. Coming to the next description: precipitation occurs throughout the year. Again, very close to equatorial climate, right? Equatorial climate, there are high chances of rain throughout the year. Next, so we can eliminate humid subtropical of climate here, because subtropical region which is higher or above than the tropical region, the chances of rain throughout the year is incorrect, right? I mean, chances of rain throughout the year is very low. Chances is very low. So we are left with equatorial climate, China type climate, marine west coast climate. All right. I can also eliminate China type climate because the annual and daily range of temperature is low. Again, China type climate is a little at the higher latitudes above the tropical region. So precipitation occurs throughout the year. The chances are again low. Or the annual day, for better chance of eliminating that option, annual and daily range of temperature is low. Does not go with China type of climate. So let's go to we are left with equatorial climate and marine west coast climate. Let's go to the third description. Precipitation varies between 50 centimeter to 250 centimeter. Okay, when we go through equatorial climate, the range of rainfall doesn't come as low as 50 centimeter. It's always above 100 to 150 or above 150 centimeters. So we can eliminate equatorial climate. All right. Are you getting my point? The answer here is marine west coast climate. So going through all 3 descriptions and going through the region or the latitude of different climates, you can crack this question. All right. This is what I tell you, like the skill, the amount of effort and time you take into the skill to solve question papers, practice question papers, it will help you to be an artist in solving the questions. All right. Because in UPSC it is very difficult to solve questions with respect to your knowledge that you have gained through the textbooks. Sometimes it is the accumulated knowledge, the common sense, the logic, or the practice or the experience that you gain from practicing question papers. With this, we come to the end of this video. Download the PDF from the link given below. Subscribe IAS HUB channel for more such videos. Keep practicing, keep working hard, utilize test series for mastering the art of question solving.